I left work 2 hours early on Christmas Eve, thinking I'd surprise my wife Sarah at her parents' holiday party in Greenwich, Connecticut. But when I walked through that front door at 4 p.m. instead of 6 o'clock, what I saw made my blood run cold. My wife stood in the living room with her mother Patricia, her sister Amanda, and a man I'd never seen before, all huddled around the dining table covered in documents. They were laughing, actually laughing, as Patricia said the words that would change everything. By New Year's, the insurance money will clear, and we can finally split Michael's estate 3 ways. The accident needs to look perfect. I'm Michael Carter, and I'm a forensic accountant. For 15 years, I've investigated financial fraud for the FBI. I've seen every scheme, every con, every way people try to steal money. But I never imagined I'd use those skills to uncover that my own family was planning my murder. Before we get to how I turned the tables on them and what I discovered about my wife's family that made everything make sense, tell me in the comments. Where are you watching from and what time is it there? Because what happened over the next 7 days became the case of my career, and it started with me hiding behind my in-laws' Christmas tree. The drive from Manhattan to Greenwich usually took an hour, but Christmas Eve traffic was light. I'd wrapped up the Caldwell embezzlement case early. My gift to myself was leaving the office at 2 p.m. instead of the usual 7 o'clock. Sarah thought I wouldn't arrive until 6 o'clock for the family Christmas party. I couldn't wait to see her face when I walked in early. The Ashford family home sat on 3 acres in Greenwich's Bellhaven neighborhood, the kind of old money Connecticut estate that appeared in magazines. Stone facade, circular driveway, views of Long Island Sound. Sarah's father, Robert, had made his fortune in commercial real estate before dying of a heart attack 2 years ago. Now Patricia ruled the house with the same iron control Robert had exercised over his business empire. I parked on the street instead of the circular driveway, wanting to maintain the surprise. The December air was crisp, that perfect New England winter cold that made everything feel clean. Through the large front windows, I could see the Christmas tree, 12 feet of perfectly decorated Douglas fir. The house glowed with warmth and light. As I approached the front door, I heard voices. Loud voices. Not the cheerful party noise I expected, but intense conversation. My FBI training kicked in automatically. I learned years ago that sometimes the most valuable intelligence comes from observation before engagement. The front door was unlocked. I stepped into the foyer quietly, my footsteps muffled by the thick Persian rug. The voices were coming from the living room, just around the corner. I recognized Sarah's laugh, that particular tone she used when she was excited about something. I was about to call out when Patricia's voice cut through clearly. By New Year's, the insurance money will clear, and we can finally split Michael's estate 3 ways. I froze. My estate? I pressed myself against the wall beside the coat closet, barely breathing. Through the gap between the wall and the enormous Christmas tree, I had a perfect view of the dining table. Sarah stood there, my wife of 8 years, wearing the red dress I'd bought her for Christmas. Beside her was her mother Patricia, 62, blonde, elegant, and ruthless. Sarah's younger sister Amanda, 28, held a stack of papers. And there was a man I didn't recognize, maybe 40, wearing an expensive suit. The life insurance policies total $4 million, the stranger said, spreading documents across the table. $2 million from his employer policy at the FBI, $1 million from the private policy you took out last year, Sarah, and another $1 million from the accidental death rider. Sarah nodded, studying the papers. And you're absolutely certain this will look like an accident? Mrs. Carter, I've been doing this for 15 years, the man replied smoothly. Vehicle accidents are the cleanest method. Icy roads, a sharp curve on Route 15, brake failure. The investigation will show mechanical malfunction. No one questions a tragic accident during the holidays. My hands clenched into fists. I was listening to my own family plan, my murder, like they were discussing a business transaction. Patricia leaned forward, her voice dropping. What about the timing? Michael's supposed to drive back to Manhattan on December 28th for that conference. Perfect, the stranger said. Route 15 has several dangerous curves between here and the city. We tamper with the brake line tonight while his car is parked here. The fluid leaks slowly. By the time he's on the highway 3 days from now, Complete brake failure at high speed. Amanda spoke up, her voice uncertain. Mom, are we really sure about this? He's my brother-in-law. What if something goes wrong? Patricia's expression hardened. Amanda, your father left this family in a precarious financial situation. The estate is tied up in legal issues that could take years to resolve. We need liquid capital now. Michael's life insurance is the solution. But Sarah, Amanda looked at her sister. You've been married to him for 8 years. How can you just? Amanda, don't be naive. Sarah's voice was cold, clinical. I married Michael because he was stable, employed, and frankly, convenient. I was 26 and tired of disappointing mother by dating artists and musicians. Michael was the safe choice. She laughed bitterly. The boring choice. Each word was a knife. I proposed to Sarah on a beach in Cape Cod, thinking she was the love of my life. We'd built a home in Manhattan, talked about having children, planned our future together. And all along, I'd been the boring choice. The marriage served its purpose, Patricia added. But circumstances change. We need capital, and Michael is worth more dead than alive. That's simply economics. When exactly will you tamper with his car? Sarah asked the stranger. Tonight, after 11 p.m., when everyone's asleep. I'll access the garage, make the modification, and be gone within 10 minutes. The brake fluid will leak slowly over the next 72 hours. By December 28th, when he drives back to Manhattan, the brakes will fail completely on the first major downhill curve. I'd heard enough. My wife and her family were planning to murder me for insurance money, and they'd hired a professional to make it look like an accident. But I wasn't just any victim. I was a forensic accountant who'd spent 15 years investigating financial crimes. And if there was one thing I'd learned at the FBI, it was this. The best way to catch criminals is to let them think they're winning while you build an airtight case. I backed away from the Christmas tree, silently, slipped out the front door, and returned to my car. My hands shook as I gripped the steering wheel. Not from fear, but from rage. And beneath the rage, a cold, calculating clarity. I pulled out my phone and made a call to the one person I trusted completely. Marcus, it's Michael. I need your help, and I need it now. Marcus Webb had been my partner at the FBI for 7 years before moving to the Connecticut State Police as a detective. If anyone could help me navigate this nightmare, it was him. Michael, it's Christmas Eve, man. What's going on? I just overheard my wife and her family hiring someone to murder me. I need to record everything, build a case, and take them down. Can you meet me? There was a pause. Then Marcus said, give me your location. I'm 20 minutes away. I drove to a Starbucks parking lot 3 miles from the Ashford house. While I waited for Marcus, my mind raced through everything I knew about Sarah's family. Patricia Ashford, widow of Robert Ashford, commercial real estate mogul. Robert had died 2 years ago from a sudden heart attack at age 64. At the time, I thought it was tragic, but not suspicious. Now I wondered. Sarah Ashford Carter, my wife. Bachelor's degree from Yale, no career to speak of, lived off a trust fund that apparently wasn't as substantial as I believed. We'd met at a charity gala in Manhattan 8 years ago. She'd seemed sophisticated, cultured, perfect. I'd been 29, climbing the ranks at the FBI, eager to settle down. Looking back now, I could see the calculation in every interaction. Amanda Ashford, 28, Sarah's younger sister. Recently divorced, living with Patricia. I'd always thought she was the flighty one, but maybe she was just the reluctant accomplice. Marcus pulled up in an unmarked police car, his face grim. He was 40, African-American, with the kind of presence that commanded respect. We'd worked dozens of cases together, built trust through the kind of high-stakes investigations that either bonded people or destroyed them. Tell me everything, he said, sliding into my passenger seat. I recounted the entire conversation. Every word about the insurance policies, the brake tampering, the timeline. Marcus recorded my statement on his phone, his expression growing darker with each detail. "For $1 million in life insurance," he said when I finished. "That's motive. The hired killer makes a conspiracy to commit murder. But Michael, we need more than your testimony about what you overheard. We need recordings, evidence, proof of the conspiracy." "I know," I said. "That's why I'm not walking away. I'm going back." Marcus stared at me. You want to go back to that house where they're planning to kill you? I'm a forensic accountant. Marcus, I've spent 15 years building cases against people who think they're smarter than the law. This is just another case. Except this time, it's personal. This is insane. No, I said, this is strategic. They think I'm arriving at 6. I'll show up then, play the loving husband, record everything, and gather evidence. They won't expect me to know anything. That's my advantage. Marcus was quiet for a long moment. Then he reached into his glove compartment and pulled out a small device. Wire. State-of-the-art. Records everything within 20 feet. Uploads to cloud storage in real time. If something goes wrong, we'll have evidence. He helped me attach the wire under my shirt, a small microphone disguised as a button. Then he handed me his personal cell phone, backup recording device. Keep it in your pocket, recording at all times. And Michael, he gripped my shoulder. You're not just gathering evidence. You're protecting your life. The moment you feel unsafe, you call me. I'll have units 5 minutes away. They won't hurt me tonight, I said with certainty. They need me alive until December 28th. That gives me 4 days to build a case that will put them away for life. At exactly 6 p.m., I pulled into the Ashford circular driveway. The house blazed with Christmas lights, wreaths on every window, the picture of holiday perfection. I grabbed the bag of gifts from my trunk and walked to the front door, my heart pounding, but my face composed. 15 years of interviewing criminals had taught me how to wear a mask. Sarah opened the door, her face lighting up with that smile I'd once thought was genuine. Michael, you made it. She kissed me, and I forced myself not to recoil. This woman had been discussing my murder 3 hours ago. Wouldn't miss Christmas Eve with the family, I said, stepping inside. The house smelled of cinnamon and pine. Classical music played softly. Everything perfect, everything poisoned. Patricia emerged from the kitchen, elegant in a cream cashmere sweater. Michael, darling, so good to see you. She embraced me, and I thought about her words. Michael is worth more dead than alive. Amanda appeared, looking uncomfortable. She'd always been the more human one. Hey, Michael, how was the drive? Easy. Light traffic. I handed out gifts, played the role of the devoted son-in-law and husband. All the while, the wire recorded everything. The stranger from earlier was gone, probably waiting to tamper with my car after midnight. I'd deal with that later. We gathered in the living room, where Patricia had set up an elaborate spread of appetizers and champagne. As we settled in, I decided to probe gently. Patricia, how are things with Robert's estate? I know the probate process has been complicated. Her eyes flickered just for a moment. Oh, you know how these things are. Lawyers moving slowly, assets tied up. Nothing to worry about. If you need help, I offered. I work with financial crimes every day. Estate issues are similar. That's kind of you, Michael, but we have excellent attorneys. I nodded, filing away her defensiveness. Over the next 2 hours, I played the perfect guest. I complimented the decorations, told work stories that made them laugh, and asked Sarah about her holiday shopping. All the while, I was observing, recording, building my case. At 8:30, Patricia suggested we have dinner. We moved to the formal dining room, where she prepared a feast: roasted duck, garlic mashed potatoes, Brussels sprouts with bacon, homemade rolls. It was surreal, sitting at this beautiful table with people who wanted me dead. During dinner, I steered the conversation toward finances. Sarah mentioned you've been looking at investment properties. Patricia, anything promising? Patricia dabbed her mouth with a napkin. A few commercial properties in Stanford. But frankly, Michael, I'm being more conservative with investments after losing Robert. Steady income is more important than growth right now. A lie. If she had steady income, she wouldn't need my life insurance money. That's wise, I said, though I know Robert left you quite comfortable. Another flicker in her eyes. Comfortable enough. After dinner, Amanda excused herself to make a phone call. I watched her walk to the study, her body language tense. While Sarah and Patricia cleared dishes, I followed Amanda, staying in the hallway where they couldn't see me, but the wire could pick up her conversation. No, I don't know if I can go through with this, Amanda was saying, her voice strained. He's a good person. This feels wrong. I understand Mom needs the money, but murder? There has to be another way. You don't understand what she's like when she doesn't get what she wants. I filed that away. Amanda was the weak link, the one with a conscience, that made her both a potential ally and a liability. At 10 p.m., I announced I was tired from the drive and wanted to head to the guest room. Sarah came with me, and for the first time all evening, we were alone. "Thank you for coming tonight," she said, sitting on the bed. "I know my family can be overwhelming." I sat beside her, studying her face. This woman I'd shared a bed with for 8 years, who I'd thought I knew completely. "I love your family," I said. "They're important to you, so they're important to me." She smiled, leaned in, and kissed me. "You're a good man, Michael. You really are." The audacity of it took my breath away. She was kissing me while planning my death. I pulled back gently. I should get some sleep. Big drive back on the 28th. "Yes," she said softly. That drive. After she left, I sat in the darkness of the guest room, my mind working through every angle. The hired killer would tamper with my car around 11 p.m. I needed to catch him in the act, record it, and use it as evidence. But I also needed to stay safe. I texted Marcus. Subject should arrive around 11 p.m. to tamper with vehicle. Need surveillance. His response came immediately. Already positioned. 2 units watching the house. We'll photograph everything. At 11:15 p.m., I heard it. The soft sound of the garage door opening. I crept to the guest room window that overlooked the driveway. Through the darkness, I saw a figure in black approaching my car. He moved with professional efficiency, sliding under the vehicle with a small flashlight. Marcus's team was recording everything. The man worked for about 8 minutes, then slid out, stood, and walked calmly back toward the street where a dark sedan waited. My phone buzzed. "Marcus, got everything. Photos, video, license plate. Running the plate now. Stay inside and stay safe." I climbed into bed, but I didn't sleep. My mind was already 3 steps ahead, planning how to build a case so airtight that Sarah, Patricia, Amanda, and their hired killer would spend decades in prison. Christmas morning arrived with weak winter sunlight filtering through the guest room curtains. I could hear movement downstairs, the sounds of Patricia preparing Christmas breakfast. The smell of coffee and cinnamon rolls drifted up. It was the kind of Norman Rockwell scene that hid absolute evil. My phone buzzed with a text from Marcus. Hired killer identified. Vincent Russo, 41, known associate of organized crime families in NYC. 2 prior arrests for assault, never convicted. Currently under investigation for 3 suspicious vehicle deaths in past 5 years. We have enough for a warrant. I stared at that message. 3 previous deaths. This wasn't just my wife's family being greedy. They'd hired a serial killer. I responded, "Don't move yet. I need more evidence connecting them. Need recorded conversations admitting to the conspiracy." "Marcus, you're playing with fire." "Me? I'm a forensic accountant. This is what I do." I showered, dressed in casual clothes, and went downstairs. The house was transformed with Christmas magic. Presents under the tree, stockings hung by the fireplace, Bing Crosby playing softly. Patricia had gone all out. "Merry Christmas." Sarah greeted me with a kiss. She wore pajamas and looked genuinely happy. The cognitive dissonance was staggering. We gathered in the living room for presents. I'd bought thoughtful gifts for everyone. A cashmere scarf for Patricia, a first edition book for Amanda, diamond earrings for Sarah. They gave me practical things, a new wallet, a leather briefcase, a watch. Things they could give away after I was dead. During present opening, I made a show of checking my phone. "Work email," I said apologetically. "The Caldwell case has some loose ends. I might need to go into the Manhattan office on the 27th instead of the 28th. Patricia's head snapped up. "The 27th? But I thought you were staying through the 28th. "Just a possibility," I said casually. "Depends on what the director needs." I watched the panic flash across Patricia's face, quickly masked. They'd planned the murder for the 28th. If I left early, their window would close. She'd need to adjust the plan, and adjustments meant more phone calls, more conversations I could record. "Well, we hope you can stay," Patricia said with forced cheerfulness. "We so rarely get quality time with you." Quality time before they killed me. After breakfast, Amanda pulled me aside while Sarah and Patricia cleaned up. "Michael, can I talk to you?" We stepped into the study, and I made sure the wire captured everything. "What's on your mind?" I asked. Amanda looked tormented. I want you to know that I think you're good for Sarah. You balance her out. Make her calmer. That's kind of you to say. And I want you to be careful." My heart rate spiked. Careful of what? She hesitated, clearly wrestling with something. "Just careful, especially when you're driving. The roads are icy this time of year." She knew. She was warning me without explicitly admitting the conspiracy. This was the breakthrough I needed. I put my hand on her shoulder. "Amanda, if something's wrong, you can tell me. I'm family." She looked like she might crack, might confess everything. Then Patricia's voice called from the kitchen. "Amanda, can you help me with the turkey?" The moment was lost. Amanda squeezed my hand and left. I spent the rest of Christmas Day playing the role perfectly. We ate turkey dinner, watched Christmas movies, drank wine. All the while I was recording, observing, building my case piece by piece. That evening, after Sarah had gone to bed, I found Patricia alone in the study, going through papers. I knocked softly on the open door. "Michael, you startled me." "Sorry, couldn't sleep. Thought I'd get some work done." She gestured to the chair across from her desk. "Join me. I'm just reviewing some of Robert's old files." I sat down, noting the papers spread across the desk. They weren't Robert's old files. They were insurance documents. "Patricia, can I ask you something? As someone who works with financial crimes." "Of course. If you were investigating a suspicious death, what would be the red flags?" Her face went very still. "That's an odd question for Christmas night. I'm working on a case. A man died in a car accident, but his widow collected $4 million in insurance. My team thinks it might not have been an accident." Patricia's hands clenched slightly. "What makes them suspicious?" "Timing. The insurance policies were taken out less than a year before his death. The accident had convenient witnesses who later couldn't be located, and the widow had significant debts." "I see." Patricia's voice was carefully neutral. "What happens if you prove it wasn't an accident?" "First-degree murder. Life in prison minimum." We stared at each other across the desk. She knew that I was sending a message, though she didn't know I knew about the conspiracy. Yet, "Well," she said finally, "I hope you catch whoever is responsible. Justice should always prevail." "It will," I said. "It always does, eventually. People think they're clever, but forensic accounting catches everything. Bank transfers, insurance policies, communications. We build cases that are impossible to defend against." I stood, wished her good night, and left her sitting there, fear finally cracking through her elegant facade. Back in the guest room, I texted Marcus. "Need background on Robert Ashford's death. Was it really a heart attack?" His response came 20 minutes later. "Checking now. Initial death certificate says acute myocardial infarction, but I'm requesting the full autopsy report and medical records. Will take a few days." I lay in the darkness, pieces clicking together. What if Robert's death hadn't been natural? What if Patricia had done this before? December 26th arrived cold and gray. I announced at breakfast that I confirmed with my director. I needed to return to Manhattan on the 27th, not the 28th. The panic around the table was palpable. Patricia's coffee cup rattled slightly. Sarah's smile became forced. Only Amanda looked relieved. "That's unfortunate," Patricia said. "We'd hoped for more time together." "Work doesn't stop for holidays," I replied. "But I'll be back for New Year's." Except I wouldn't be. By New Year's, they'd all be in custody. That afternoon, while Sarah and Patricia went shopping, Amanda and I ended up alone in the house. She found me in the study, her face pale. "Michael, I need to tell you something." My pulse quickened. "What is it?" "My mother." She stopped, started again. "My mother isn't who you think she is." "What do you mean?" "When my father died, everyone said it was a heart attack. Sudden, unexpected. But the week before, Mom had taken out a huge life insurance policy on him. $3 million. My blood went cold. "Did you tell anyone?" "Who would I tell?" "The doctors said it was natural causes. But I've always wondered." She looked at me with tears in her eyes. "And now she's talking about money problems, and I hear her on the phone with that man, and I'm scared, Michael. I'm scared of what she's planning." "What man?" "The one who was here Christmas Eve. I've seen him before, talking to Mom in quiet corners." And yesterday, I heard her on the phone saying, it has to be the 28th. Everything is set for the 28th. I pulled out my phone, showed her a photo Marcus had sent. Is this the man? She gasped. Yes. Who is he? Amanda. I need you to trust me. Can you do that? She nodded, tears streaming down her face. I know about the plan. I know your mother and Sarah hired that man to kill me by tampering with my car's brakes. I've been recording everything, building a case. But I need your help. She collapsed into a chair. Oh God, I knew something was wrong, but I didn't think murder. She looked up at me. What do you need? I need you to get your mother and Sarah to talk about the plan where I can record it. Get them to say explicitly what they're doing. Ow! Tell them you're worried I might suspect something because I'm leaving early. See if they'll discuss adjusting the plan. I need them to incriminate themselves on record. Amanda was shaking. If my mother finds out, I'm helping you. She won't. You'll be protected. I promise. She took a deep breath. Okay, I'll try tonight. That evening, Amanda worked her magic. She suggested to Patricia and Sarah that they have a family meeting about some financial matters. I was conveniently in the guest room with the door cracked open and the wire recording everything. Their voices carried clearly from the living room below. Mom, I'm worried, Amanda said. Michael mentioned leaving on the 27th. What if he actually does? Won't that ruin everything? He won't, Patricia said confidently. Sarah will convince him to stay. Won't you, dear? Already done, Sarah replied. I told him I had a special gift I wanted to give him on the 28th before he left. He agreed to stay, and the mechanic confirmed the work is done. Patricia asked. Vincent called yesterday, Sarah said. The brake line modification is perfect. Slow leak. By the time Michael hits Route 15 on the 28th, complete brake failure. He'll never survive those curves at highway speed. The insurance policies are all active. Patricia pressed. For $1 million total. It'll clear by New Year's. Split 3 ways. $1.5 million for you, Mom, $1.5 million for me, and $1 million for Amanda. I had it. Explicit admission of conspiracy to commit murder, including the method, timeline, and financial motive. This recording would seal their fate. But Amanda wasn't done. Mom, can I ask you something? Did you do this to Dad? Silence. Then Patricia's voice, cold and hard. Your father was going to leave me. After 35 years of marriage, he'd met some woman in his office. I wasn't going to lose everything I'd built. So yes, I took care of it. Murder confession number 2. Robert Ashford hadn't died of natural causes. Patricia had killed him. Ow, Amanda whispered. Digitalis. Easily mistaken for heart attack, especially in a man with his medical history. I've been putting small doses in his coffee for weeks. His heart just gave out. Sarah's voice held admiration. You never told me that. I didn't need to, but now you know what I'm capable of. This family survives because I make the hard choices. Michael is just the latest sacrifice for our financial security. I had everything. Multiple confessions, conspiracy to murder, admission of previous homicide. I texted Marcus, have full confession, multiple murders, move in tomorrow morning. His response, standing by. Medical examiner is expediting Robert Ashford's file. Preliminary review shows digitalis in blood work that was missed in original autopsy. Combined with tonight's confession, we have her for 2 murders. I barely slept that night. December 27th would be the reckoning. Morning arrived with heavy snow falling. I came downstairs at 8 a.m., pack bags in hand. Leaving so soon? Patricia asked, her face a mask of concern. Have to get back to Manhattan, but I'll see you all for New Year's. I kissed Sarah goodbye. Thank you for a wonderful Christmas. She smiled, probably thinking this was the last time she'd see me alive. I loaded my bags into the car. Then I did something I planned carefully. I opened the hood, checked the oil, and made a show of noticing something. That's odd, I called out. Sarah and Patricia had come outside to see me off. What's odd? Patricia asked. Looks like I have a brake fluid leak. There's fluid all over the driveway. I pulled out my phone. I should call a mechanic. Oh, don't be silly, Patricia said, too quickly. You could drive carefully back to the city and get it fixed there, on icy roads with bad brakes. I looked at her. Patricia, I investigate suspicious deaths for a living. I'm not driving this car until it's checked by a professional. Her face went white. I called Marcus. Detective Webb? This is Michael Carter. I'm at my in-laws' house in Greenwich, and someone has tampered with my vehicle's brake line. I'd like to file a report. Within 5 minutes, 3 police cars pulled up. Marcus got out, badge visible. Mr. Carter, show me the vehicle. Patricia and Sarah stood frozen as Marcus examined my car. He photographed the modified brake line, the slow leak, the professional tampering. Mrs. Ashford, Mrs. Carter, Marcus said formally. I'm Detective Marcus Webb, Connecticut State Police. We need to discuss who had access to this vehicle over the past few days. I have no idea how that happened, Patricia said. Perhaps it's just wear and tear. Perhaps, Marcus said. Or perhaps it's attempted murder. Sarah laughed nervously. That's ridiculous. Why would anyone try to murder Michael? $4 million in life insurance, I said quietly. Split 3 ways between you, your mother, and your sister. The silence was absolute. Marcus pulled out his phone. I have recordings of both of you discussing this plan, including your mother's confession to murdering Robert Ashford with Digitalis 2 years ago. Patricia's legs buckled. Sarah grabbed her mother's arm. You recorded us? Sarah's voice was shrill. That's illegal. Actually, I said, Connecticut is a one-party consent state. Since I was present in the house and Amanda consented to the recording, everything is legal. And you confessed to conspiracy to commit murder, insurance fraud, and in Patricia's case, first-degree murder of Robert Ashford. More police cars arrived. Marcus nodded to his officers. Patricia Ashford, Sarah Carter, you're under arrest for conspiracy to commit murder, attempted murder, insurance fraud, and in Mrs. Ashford's case, the murder of Robert Ashford. As they read them their rights and put them in handcuffs, Sarah looked at me with pure hatred. You bastard. You manipulative bastard. I learned from the best, I replied. Amanda emerged from the house, tears streaming down her face. I'm sorry, Mom. I'm sorry, Sarah, but I couldn't let you kill him. Patricia's face twisted with rage. You little traitor. No, I said, stepping between them. She's the only one with a conscience. They loaded Patricia and Sarah into separate police cars. Marcus put his hand on my shoulder. We also have Vincent Russo in custody. He's already flipping on your wife's family, hoping for a deal. He's confessed to tampering with your car and to 3 previous murders Patricia hired him for. 3. Robert Ashford wasn't her first. We're unraveling a pattern going back 15 years. Your mother-in-law is a serial killer. The full scope of it hit me. I hadn't just uncovered a plot to kill me. I'd exposed a murderer who'd been operating for over a decade. The next 3 months were a whirlwind of legal proceedings, testimony, and media attention. The case made national headlines. FBI agent exposes wife's murder plot. But the deeper story was Patricia Ashford's killing spree. Investigators ultimately connected her to 5 deaths over 15 years. Robert Ashford was just the most recent. Before him, there was her mother-in-law, a wealthy aunt, a business partner of Robert's, and a neighbor who'd witnessed something suspicious. Patricia had methodically eliminated anyone who threatened her financial security or knew too much. Sarah had known about at least 2 of the murders and helped plan mine. Amanda had suspected, but never had proof until I gave her the courage to act. The trials were straightforward. With the recordings, Vincent Russo's testimony, and the forensic evidence Marcus's team had gathered, the prosecution built an unbeatable case. Patricia Ashford received life in prison without parole for 5 counts of first-degree murder. The judge called her one of the most calculated and remorseless killers he'd ever sentenced. Sarah received 25 years for conspiracy to commit murder and accessory after the fact to Robert's murder. She'd known what her mother did and helped cover it up. Vincent Russo received 20 years in exchange for his testimony, though investigators believe he was responsible for at least a dozen murders for hire. Amanda received full immunity for her cooperation. She'd been the key witness who confirmed the family dynamics and Patricia's controlling nature. She inherited what was left of Robert's estate after the legal fees, and last I heard, she'd moved to California to start over. As for me, I returned to my apartment in Manhattan and filed for divorce. It It was finalized quickly, given the circumstances. I threw myself into work, helping the FBI develop new protocols for investigating suspicious deaths that might be domestic homicides disguised as accidents. 6 months after the arrest, I stood in my new apartment in Brooklyn. I couldn't stay in the place I'd shared with Sarah and looked out at the Manhattan skyline. My phone buzzed with a message from Marcus. Robert Ashford's exhumation complete. Digitalis confirmed. Patricia's going down for another murder. This case is going in textbooks. I smiled grimly. Patricia had been right about one thing. I was boring. Methodical, analytical, careful. But those boring qualities had saved my life and stopped a serial killer. The case taught me something I'd known intellectually but never understood emotionally. The people closest to us can be the most dangerous. Trust isn't about love or family ties. It's about character, integrity, values. I started dating again eventually, but I was more careful. Background checks, slow progression, keeping my guard up. Some people thought I was paranoid. I thought I was smart. A year after the trials, I received a letter from Amanda. She'd gotten married to a teacher she met in San Diego. She was happy, healing, trying to build a life that wasn't defined by her mother's evil. "Thank you for giving me the courage to do the right thing," she wrote. "You saved my life too, in a way." I was becoming like them, accepting their twisted logic. "You show me another path." I kept that letter in my desk drawer, a reminder that even in the darkest situations, some people find a strength to choose right over wrong. Looking back now, I understand that arriving early to that Christmas party wasn't luck. It was divine timing. God placed me in that living room at exactly the right moment to overhear a conversation that would save my life. Every skill I developed over 15 years at the FBI, the patience, the attention to detail, the ability to build airtight cases, had been preparation for the moment I'd need to investigate my own family. The betrayal still stings sometimes. 8 years of marriage, all of it a lie. Sarah never loved me. I was just a convenient, stable choice who became worth more dead than alive. But that pain taught me something valuable. We teach people how to treat us by what we tolerate. I'll never tolerate deception again. These days, I'm senior forensic accountant at the FBI, specializing in domestic financial crimes. I've helped develop a new database that flags suspicious life insurance patterns, hoping to catch other Patricia Ashfords before they kill. The work is my therapy, my way of turning trauma into purpose. I've also started speaking at conferences about financial red flags in domestic situations. How to spot when family members are positioning you as a financial target. The warning signs of murder for insurance money. My story is extreme, but the patterns are more common than people think. If you're reading this and something feels wrong in your own family, financial pressure, new insurance policies you didn't know about, loved ones asking strange questions about your schedule or travel plans, trust your instincts. The people who love us don't calculate our worth in dollars. They don't plan around our absence. They celebrate our presence. What happened to me on Christmas Eve was the worst betrayal of my life. But it also revealed my strength, my resilience, and my ability to fight back when everything seemed lost. Patricia thought I was just a boring accountant, easy to manipulate and eliminate. She forgot that accountants are professional investigators. We find the truth in numbers, patterns, evidence. And the truth always wins. So yes, I arrived early at my wife's parents' house on Christmas Eve. What I discovered there shattered my world. But it also saved my life and stopped a serial killer who'd been operating for over a decade. Sometimes the worst moments lead to the greatest victories. Sometimes betrayal reveals exactly who we are when everything's on the line. And sometimes being boring and methodical is exactly what you need to survive. This is one of those grandpa stories I'll tell someday. Not to scare people, but to empower them. To teach them that awareness, preparation, and faith can overcome even the darkest plots. That evil exists, but so does justice. That family isn't always blood, but blood doesn't always make you family. Your turn to share wisdom. What would you have done in my situation? Drop a comment below sharing your thoughts. And don't forget to subscribe for more true stories that remind us how strength emerges from betrayal. Tell me what city you're listening from. Because stories like these aren't just entertainment. They're lessons in survival, justice, and the power of refusing to be a victim. Stay vigilant out there. Trust your instincts. And remember, the people who truly love you would never calculate your worth in insurance money. That's not love. That's predation. And predators can be defeated when good people refuse to look away. God placed me at that Christmas party early for a reason. He gave me the skills to fight back. And He'll do the same for you if you ever need it. Have faith, stay aware, and never apologize for protecting yourself. Justice always prevails. Always.